Sarah, thanks for making the time. Before I show you anything, I'd rather understand your operation than talk at you for half an hour. Is it all right if I ask a few questions first, and then we drive the system live?
That's fine. I've sat through 3 of these this month and every one of them opened with a slide deck.
No slides. So, how big is the fleet today?
42 vehicles on the road, 60 drivers on the books because a lot of them are part-time. 1 office in Walthamstow, 2 dispatchers on days, 1 overnight.
And what's the split of work? Account, cash, app?
Roughly half account work, schools, 2 care homes, a couple of corporates. Then airport runs, Heathrow and Stansted mostly, and the rest is street work off the phone and the app.
What are you running on now?
AutoCab. Have been for 6 years. Look, it does the job, I'm not going to pretend it's broken. But I'm paying for modules I never open, and anything I want changed goes through a support ticket. Last time I needed a new airport tariff it took 3 weeks.
AutoCab's a serious platform and plenty of good operators run on it. I'm not here to tell you otherwise. Let me stay on the bit that's actually hurting. 3 weeks to get a tariff live. What did that cost you?
A corporate account. They wanted a fixed rate to Heathrow. I couldn't give them a price for 3 weeks, and by then they'd signed with somebody else. And in the meantime we were quoting the old rate on airport jobs, so every one of those we ran at a loss.
So it's not really a pricing problem. It's that you can't act on a commercial decision at the speed you make it.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Last one before we go live. You've clearly thought about moving before. What stopped you?
Fear, honestly. 12 years of customer records, account history, driver files. If that doesn't come across cleanly, I've got nothing. I'm not gambling the business on an import script.
That's the right instinct, and it's the first thing I'll show you. Not a promise, your actual data, on screen, before you commit to anything. Let's go into the system. This is the setup and migration console. You export from your current system, bookings, customers, drivers, vehicles, accounts, as CSV. Nothing exotic, every platform in this market will give you those. You start by telling it what you're moving from, and AutoCab is right there on the list, next to iCab, Cordic and Taxicaller. Then you upload your export, and the wizard reads the headers and maps the columns for you, because it already knows the shape those systems export in. You're correcting a mapping rather than building one from scratch.
And if it maps something wrong?
You override it, and that's the point of the next screen. Preview. This shows you exactly what will be created, row by row, before a single record is written. Duplicates get flagged separately. 12 years of data always has the same customer in there 4 times.
So nothing's live until I say so.
Nothing is written until you press commit. And if the preview looks wrong, you cancel the import and it leaves no trace. You can run it as many times as you like. For a fleet your size, with account history, we plan 7 to 10 working days end to end. Most of that isn't the import, it's you checking the preview, and us running your live jobs in parallel for a few days so you can see both systems agree before you switch the phones over.
Parallel running. Nobody else has offered me that.
Let's do the day-to-day. You've taken on a new car this morning. This is your fleet list, every vehicle, its class, and its compliance state. New vehicle, registration, make and model, the class it belongs to, saloon, estate, MPV, executive, and then the documents. MOT, insurance, and the licensing authority plate, each with its expiry date.
Does it chase the expiries or is that still my spreadsheet?
It chases them. The vehicle goes into a warning state as the date approaches and the operator sees it on the compliance board. If a plate actually expires, that's a licensing matter, so the default is that the vehicle stops being dispatchable, and if you want to override that, it takes a deliberate action that gets recorded.
Good. I've had a car out on an expired plate before. Once.
Same shape for drivers. This is your driver list, status, vehicle, and compliance down the side. A new driver, name, contact, their private hire license and its expiry, DBS, and the vehicle they're assigned to. Then you set how they're paid, which we'll come back to in a minute. When you save, they get an invite to the driver app. They install it, sign in, and they're on your board. You don't hand out credentials and you don't type a password into somebody's phone.
How long before a new driver can actually take work?
Minutes, if their documents are in. Which is really the same answer as the tariff question: everything an owner decides, an owner can action, without a ticket. So, 3 weeks for an airport tariff. This is pricing. You've got your base tariffs, the meter, the mileage bands, waiting time, and the time of day multipliers for nights and bank holidays. Change one, save, it applies to the next quote. Above that you have fixed prices for specific routes. That corporate you lost, postcode to Heathrow, one fixed number, live as soon as you save it. And you can attach it to just that account, so their rate isn't your street rate.
And if I get the number wrong, I've flat priced my whole book.
Which is why there's a test bench. You put a real journey through it, this pickup, this destination, this time, this account, and it shows you the fare the engine will actually quote, before you make it live. Test first, publish second. Driver pay is set on the driver record, commission as a percentage of the fare, a flat weekly rent, or a mix of the two, per driver or per group. Whatever you set there is what the statement calculates from at the end of the week, so the number the driver sees and the number you see come from the same place.
Mine are mixed. Some on 50-50, the older ones on rent.
Then you'd set two groups and drop each driver into one. It'll take you about 10 minutes. This is where your dispatchers live. Jobs down the left in their states: booked, offered, allocated, on board, cleared. Your drivers and the map on the right. Your dispatcher's hands stay on the keyboard, but everything is also one right-click away. Right-click any job and you get the full action set for it: assign a driver, dispatch it, smart assign, edit or clone it, create the return leg, show it on the map, pull the receipt or the job log, open the ride chat with the driver, or cancel it.
That's the thing my overnight girl will care about. She's on her own from 10.
Then this will matter too. The system flags at her a job that's been sitting unallocated too long, a driver about to run past their hours, a pickup with no vehicle in range. She isn't scanning a board hoping to spot it. And note what it did when I tried to give this driver a job that overlaps one they already have. It didn't silently take it. It stopped, told me what the conflict was, and made me decide. You can force past it, but that's a decision with your name on it, not an accident.
We've double-booked a school run before. That's a phone call I don't enjoy.
Let's run a real one. Console on the left, and that's a real driver phone on the right. I'll dispatch the Galaxy S23 to the driver on the live system, watch both not screens. A simulator. There's the offer on the phone: pickup, destination, distance, and a countdown. And the job on the console has gone to offered with the same clock running. Nobody has to tell anybody anything. Driver accepts. Console flips to allocated with the driver's name on the job. That's the round trip, and it's the same round trip whether your dispatcher is sat next to me or asleep. Now the driver works the job on the phone and the board follows him. He sets off en route. The status changes on the console, and the customer gets told, because the customer asking where the car is a phone call your office is paying for. He arrived. That's your waiting time clock starting from a real event at the door, not from what somebody typed in the office 5 minutes later. Passenger on board. The job moves into its onboard phase, the board marks it soon to clear, and the meter is running against the tariff we were just looking at. The fare is calculated, the job clears the board, and it lands on the driver's statement, with the commission split we set earlier already applied.
So the driver's total is coming off what actually happened, not what we reconstruct on a Friday.
Every state change on that job is timestamped from the device. If a driver disputes a waiting time charge, you're not arguing, you're both reading the same record. You said Heathrow and Stansted. This is the airport board. Every job with a flight number lives in one of these lanes: scheduled, flight inbound, landed and in terminal, driver en route, met and on board. Your dispatcher works an airport queue instead of hunting airport jobs inside a list of 800. The flight number goes on the booking itself, here on the desk. The system then watches that flight and moves the pickup when the landing time moves. You set the delay threshold and how far ahead it monitors.
That's the one that costs me. Driver sat at Heathrow on a delay, and is earning nothing, so he's unhappy, and I've got no car for the school run.
It's two costs, the dead time, and the job you couldn't cover with that car. And I want to be straight with you, flight tracking sits on our Pro Max plan. It isn't on the entry tiers. At 42 vehicles that's the plan you'd be on anyway, but I'd rather you hear that from me now than find it out later. Last screen, and it closes the loop on the job we just ran. Driver statements. Build the batch for the period and it aggregates every completed trip per driver, including the job we dispatched 2 minutes ago, at the fare the engine calculated, with your commission split already applied. Nothing was rekeyed and nobody added anything up. At the end of your pay period you build the batch, you approve it, and you export it or pay it out. The driver sees the same breakdown in the app, so the conversation about a missing job happens against a record instead of a memory.
My Fridays are currently 4 hours of a spreadsheet and 2 arguments.
So let me put back what I heard. You're not unhappy with your software as a piece of engineering. You're unhappy that a decision you make on a Monday is live in 3 weeks, and that's cost you an account and margin on your airport work.
Yes.
And the reason you haven't moved is 12 years of data. So the first thing we'd do isn't a contract, it's take an export from you, run it through the import wizard, and put your own records on screen so you can look at them. 2 things I'll say plainly, because you'll find them out anyway. There's a 14-day trial, and the card is taken at sign-up, so the plan starts on day 15. It isn't a no-card trial, and I'm not going to describe it as one. And every plan has a driver allowance with a per-driver charge above it. At 60 drivers on the books, that's worth doing the sum on together, and I'll do it with you rather than send you a number.
I appreciate that. The last one told me it was unlimited and free to try.
It's neither, from anyone. Send me the export whenever you're ready and I'll have your data in front of you inside a week.